In January 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order aimed at initiating mass deportations of illegal immigrants. This policy has ignited debates over its potential impact on the U.S. economy. While the issue of illegal immigration has long been a focal point of American politics, this new directive could have far-reaching consequences, particularly for industries heavily reliant on undocumented workers. The role of undocumented immigrants in the workforce. Undocumented immigrants make up a significant portion of the U.S. labor force, particularly in industries such as agriculture, construction, and hospitality. These sectors rely on low-wage workers, and many of the jobs in these industries are hard to fill with U.S. citizens. According to the Pew Research Center, around 7% of the U.S. workforce consists of undocumented workers, many of whom perform essential jobs that contribute to the functioning of the economy. For example, the construction industry employs approximately 1.5 million undocumented workers, which is about 13% of the workforce in that sector. Similarly, in agriculture, undocumented immigrants make up roughly 73% of the labor force in crop fields. Removing these workers would create significant disruptions in productivity, increase labor costs, and potentially cause delays or even shutdowns in some industries. Impact on economic growth and GDP. One of the most significant economic impacts of mass deportations would be on the U.S. economy's overall growth. Economists warn that removing millions of undocumented workers could slow the nation's GDP and negatively affect productivity. The Congressional Joint Economic Committee estimates that deporting around 8 million undocumented immigrants could reduce the U.S. GDP by up to 7.4% by 2028. This decrease in economic output would likely stem from labor shortages, especially in industries that depend on immigrant workers. Agriculture and construction, for instance, would be particularly hard hit, with businesses in those sectors struggling to find replacements for the workforce they rely on. Rising costs and inflation. The deportation of undocumented workers could lead to increased labor costs, as businesses attempt to hire legal workers at higher wages to fill the gaps left behind. Companies may pass these additional costs on to consumers, resulting in higher prices for goods and services. This could contribute to inflation, impacting the purchasing power of American families. The cost of implementing and enforcing mass deportations would also be substantial. Estimates suggest that deporting just 1 million undocumented immigrants could cost taxpayers around $20 billion. These costs could add up quickly if the deportation policy is expanded to millions more individuals. Social and demographic consequences. In addition to economic impacts, there are also social and demographic consequences of mass deportations. Many undocumented immigrants live in mixed-status families, households with both legal and undocumented members. Removing millions of individuals from the workforce could disrupt these families, creating challenges for children and spouses who may be left behind. The U.S. Census Bureau estimates that 5.8 million households include at least one undocumented resident. Deporting large numbers of immigrants could lead to an increase in single-parent households and put additional strain on the social safety net. These changes would not only affect the families directly involved but could also have ripple effects on the broader community. Trump's executive order to deport millions of undocumented immigrants aims to address illegal immigration, but it carries significant economic consequences. The removal of immigrant workers could result in labor shortages, reduced productivity, and higher costs for businesses and consumers alike. Furthermore, the social and demographic impacts of mass deportations could strain families and communities, particularly in sectors that rely heavily on immigrant labor. As the U.S. continues to grapple with immigration policy, the balance between enforcement and maintaining economic stability will remain a key consideration for the future of the nation.